Alright, welcome back. Day 20, December 20th. A little getting closer to the holidays now. Kids are possibly starting to enjoy, looking forward to their winter vacation and so on, you know. People taking their breaks, family time. Anyways, yesterday we had or at least I had a fun sharing of my thoughts regarding OS Laser and the imminent launch of OS ranking, right, on Laser. And there was another update today, Fast and Furious, and I really love it. It's before I had to like flip between the details to know like the song's property, like the beat maps property, and now it's just up here. So that's the new thing in OS Laser, practically in real time. This I find incredibly convenient. Now details just show user rating. Generally descriptions have a lot more than just this, but this is not a standard map. Typically there's some sort of trivia or like background, the creator, a lot of the other stuff. And then they moved all the like the sliders that were on the top left of this box up here. Very helpful. I like it. I can definitely use this to my advantage, since I will perhaps mentally prepare myself. Alright. So yesterday was okay, I think. The abbreviated, like, going up and down is a little bit harder to adjust because it takes me a little bit of time. We'll get it. Once again, this is one of those rare moments that I'm repeating the same thing now, which is kind of nice. As much as I like to keep switching it up. Gotta see where you are when you're repeating. Alright. And it's also Wednesday, so it's a half day for me. This is about all we're gonna do today. Alright. that stutter. I hate to see when that happens. So heckin' annoying. Okay. I'm just a little bit too relaxed right now. Maybe a smidge too relaxed. Stutter near the end. don't want to say that has anything to do with practice. It really doesn't. I stutter. Oops. That was a bit of a more of a struggle than usual. Having a hard time relaxing there. Oh. So. Trying very focused on just keeping relaxed. So relax kinda reduces control quite a bit. My fingers feel quite light right now. Super light. We're not hulking the switches. trying very hard to make the feeling of tapping slower, feel like tapping in the midsection, but the lightness in the tapping is causing a lot of loss in accuracy. Trying to make it feel like I'm not doing two or three different things, like literally with my hands. I clearly tap a lot harder when I need to slow down. It really shows when I'm trying not to. I'm getting close to that feeling. There's definitely a smoother transition between the way I hold my hand and a tap in between going from warm-up to the accuracy portion. It feels closer than it used to be. So I'm getting into that feeling earlier. The warm-up feeling earlier. Usually warm-up feels really, really different. It just feels like everything's stiff and it takes a lot of effort, or like a lot of awkward feeling. But today was quite smooth. The first one felt a little bit still more like the same. Just gotta hold on to that feeling the entire time. That was very promising. Few stutters here and there, but ultimately kept the same form. I think the form really locked in around here. So I kind of want the warm-up to be closer to how I feel here. These ones are a little bit rough. There's hesitation. But then once we hit here, everything starts feeling the same, like, as we're ramping up. I don't expect this to last. Once we get maybe somewhere here, there's gonna be another like transition in feeling. Hopefully it gets higher, maybe to here. My goal right now is to focus on getting to that feeling as soon as possible and then maintaining it as long as possible. It's hard to describe, but it kind of just feels like my hand is lighter, like incredibly light. And I'm not like overexerting hitting the keys. That's my norm anyways. A lot of people prefer to hit the keys really hard. And it took me like half the math to normalize, to really clear my mind before I start these. Oops. No talking into it. I'm struggling quite a bit to get the... Maybe clearing my mind is not exactly what I want to do. That's a problem. That didn't help much either. one of those days. 20. Yeah. It's almost the end of the third week. Took way too long to stop the skipping. It's gonna be a little bit rough. It's taking way, way too long to normalize. Hi. Just doing some tapping. What's up at your end? No, I was just doing some tapping. Curious what you're up to. Aiko. Interesting. Aiko session, huh? Why did it feel bad? Didn't really gain a lot. We were going for top 5k, but we end up gaining like 80 pp today. I see. There's 6200-ish. I see. Is that what you typically play Taiko for? You like the PP system?
Let's rock it.
Hey, 80 pp is something, you know? I just came out of attorneys. I'm trying to gain rank. I see. Fair enough. How'd you feel about the tournament? Speed is so good for gaining fast in Taiko. I can imagine. I don't usually concern myself with the PP system. However, I can tell you that I have a lot of acquaintances that would agree with you when it comes to standard as well. Generally speaking, understanding how the source code, like the conceptual understanding of how the PP system is weighted statistically, speed, that is very accurate. It's a very accurate understanding of the PP system. So I was kind of just comparing it to then. Oh, I see. So you're trying to ride a momentum, huh? It went pretty good. Nice. What's your tournament history like? Do you primarily play and practice and gain towards tournament play? Or are you, like, what is the balance here? Are we saying like 70% tournament, 30% individual playtime? What is your balance? That was your first? Okay. Sounds like a excellent experience for your first. You played Mania for 3 years. Never got good, so I moved to Taiko. That's interesting. Ever consider giving a Mania another shot as you take a break from Taiko? You know, and go back and forth. I sign into round myself out, but I'm gonna try to play in them a lot. Okay. That sounds amazing. Meeting new people, having fun. Sounds like you have a very sustainable habit with OS Taiko at the moment. What was your idea of getting good in Mania that made you change to Taiko? Oh, okay, okay. You do plan, okay. Sometimes just changing it up can be, you know, very cathartic to the mind, to the mental game. Like 19k rank and below in Mania. I see. 2 years, hard stuck 20k, so I kind of taking a break. Breaks are wonderful. Gotta reset them. Yes, gotta reset the mind. Once my Taiko permanent skill boost runs out, gonna chill on it. I've been playing Taiko a lot because some skill sets that would take people a month to get used to can take like a week. Apples and oranges. Right, can be able to play it. That's great. That sounds like a healthy dynamic you have. I don't imagine you play standard at all, or do you play standard too? Breaks are great, both mentally and physically. It's kind of my jam. Like, I typically advise people on how to maintain a sustainable lifestyle, right? And it seems like your experience had taught you how to manage that in a satisfying way. Maybe consider for it. Okay. I don't necessarily think saying a rank tells much about playing anything, really. I can't really tell you if you had a skill set that's not weighted by a ranking system, right? A ranking system measures performance based on its weight. And if the weight involves a skill set that you don't actually use, a rank doesn't display or disseminate any information about a player's skill set. Obviously, it tries to cover as many skill sets as possible that are consistently reflected in the community. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a Geomedi Dash. Interesting. Geo Dash. That would be a very healthy learning experience for sure. Taking breaks. As I said this quite a bit. If you guys are interested in how the dynamics of human improvement works, generally speaking, improvement only occurs when one rests. They don't actually occur during periods of actually performing the task. It might seem a little counterintuitive, but generally speaking, if you guys are interested in the dynamics of like the mind-body connection, both intellectually and physically, it's generally when you rest is when improvement happens. There is rarely a dynamic change that is dramatic enough while you're performing the task. And without a period of significant, reconciliation of your experiences, generally speaking, you're underutilizing the potential to improve. I'm guessing you used to play standard and you're coming back now practicing everything. Are you talking to me? Or Geodash? First break in 3 years? Dang. How's the break treating you? Yeah, my mental is destroying you and Mania moving from... Okay. When play standard, I just took a break from Earth as a whole. But yes, I've been playing more skill sets. That sounds amazing. Just round it up. It seems like you two sound to have a healthy relationship with skill building. Myself, This is day 20. I do these little exercises out of intellectual curiosity. So 7 months ago, it's been 7 months, and I'm coming back just to swap it up, just for fun. So right now I'm tapping with my ring finger and my index finger. But for the large majority of on and off play 4 years ago, like over the course of 4 years, I've been using my pointer finger and my middle finger. So this is kind of my foundational way of structuring OS training to what I understand about myself in terms of learning skill sets and reconditioning. So there's nothing particularly wrong or undesirable about my middle finger and my index. I just decided that I'm going to play with my ring finger instead. Oh, I see. Yeah, most of my experience is on my middle finger and my pointer finger. And that's about it. I haven't done anything like metric, closed system metric, competitively in a while. And what I mean by competitively, remember that competition with yourself is also considered competition. So generally speaking, I do things for fun, or I do things for learning, skill building. So in terms of like someone speaking to me about performance gains, I can kind of relate to that. But that was when I was, in my teens and my early 20s. In my teens and my early 20s is when usually people emphasize performance-based metrics for skill building. And generally speaking, we all understand or accept that statistically OS community is within that range. Early adulthood, young adults. So generally speaking, I play OS not from a performance standpoint, just from a learning standpoint. My skill that I practice most of the time is learning. That's about it. Everything else is icing on the cake. Right. You played middle index just because I mainly use my middle for single tapping and stuff. Fair enough. The reason why I use ring finger and index finger right now is I'm curious if my keyboarding, I'm a PC power user, so usually, right, these fingers are where you AD. So you AD with these two when you're playing like three-dimensional free camera stuff. So generally the natural alternating motion are these two fingers. And when I was playing middle and index finger, I actually single tap on both fingers. I did the alternating single tapping thing. So like I do have a dominant hand for single tapping back and forth finger, but by the end of the song it'll be the same, because it'll be like single tap, alternate, single tap on the other hand, alternate, single tap on the other finger, alternate, and then back and forth until the end of the song. So I used to single tap on both my fingers. I now single tap on still both the fingers. It's just the ring finger is a lot less conditioned to do so at the moment. You play for seeing your improvement, and personally I do care about your rank. That seems reasonable. That sounds like a cool way to play. Don't think I've heard someone else play. Generally speaking, I would say OS doesn't have a system that reinforces the learning process. So it's unlikely to have very older people who already operate in systems that reward and acknowledge that. So for example, if you are a scientist, enhanced learning process is a necessary skill. It's one of the highest levels of skills produced in education. So what I mean is, you get lots of problems, lots of different problems every single day. And without your skill in learning, you are unable to solve problems rapidly enough to be competitive in a scientific field. So critical thinking, practicing critical thinking and learning and problem solving is the major skill in my prior career, or I guess my current career. I haven't really decided to go back yet. So naturally, I play video games in the same way. I solve problems in video games out of curiosity. The quicker I learn, the more problems I solve. Once they're okay, you move on. So when I get new inspirations, I come back to tools that I already have. So OS is a tool for learning. And right now I'm using it as a tool to learn to talk to other people who play this video game. So a lot of things about learning also deals with teaching. And in order to teach, you have to solve problems and, find different ways to look at a specific product or tool in order to be able to teach and instruct and talk to people about what they enjoy. I get them excited. Yeah. So it's kind of unfortunate and fortunate. If I was a content creator, right, as a professional content creator, which I am not, it is very difficult to demonstrate what a person who's good at learning is like, because it requires people to follow you over time, like understand you over time, not with metrics. So it's very difficult for me to communicate what my skill is, the skill that I love to do. Learning is a process, it's not an end goal. So when you're talking about ranks and stuff, that's an end goal. That's a performance-based metric. The only way you can possibly measure who's good at learning stuff and problem solving are probably the people who are running your stores and selling you the product that's making them millions of dollars. That's generally those people. So you don't usually find them playing in a system. I'm more of a guy that's outside of a system. So if there's a PP ranking system, I read it, I understand what it does. I may play in the PP system. However, most of the time the reward comes from what else does the PP system not do. So I'm always doing something that doesn't necessarily have to be what everyone's thinking about. Because if you're younger and you're less experienced, you typically have a much lower limited capacity for creativity. And creativity typically means being outside of the box. So if you're constantly weighing your happiness and your performance on a ranking system that has very literal metrics, if you're really happy about it, it's great. If you're not happy about it, you have to solve the problem. You have to understand the system and then work outside the system. That's kind of my thing that I do most of the time. When I'm playing video games, it's not always OS, it's many other things. Generally speaking, we're talking about psychology and human motivation stuff. What is my view on tournaments within OS? I think two aspects. We'll make it very slightly shorter. Two aspects. So if we're talking about something that would resonate with you guys, like a ranking system, like a metric system where it's standardized. So you have to say the perspective that I'm going to share first is probably the one that's most interesting to both of you, because you guys already mentioned like standardizations. So in the scope of like esports, right, the industrial standardization of Major League Gaming, I think those tournaments at the moment are in their early phases. As an organization is variant. There's a lack of standardization across tournaments, and usually the ranking system that's being used is not necessarily tailored and catered to tournament play. So there is another seeding, right? There's the beginnings of a seeding aspect, weighted statistics, that is still using a PP system that's ranked individually. However, you can see the beginning ways of how to seed the tournaments based on like prior tournament record and whatnot. But ultimately, I think right now tournament play in OS is very casual in terms of the industrial, like the greater competitive organizations like, you know, soccer, tennis, or American football, and even down to like chess, CSGO, you know, like Major League Gaming, right? So it's in their early phase, but I think it's trending in a very official way, and it has a future for sure. In terms of how they're demonstrating skill sets and whatnot, without standardization, I think tournaments in the current state they are in are a lot of fun, but not sufficiently professional enough to be unfun while being rewarding. So what I mean is, you guys probably think tournaments are fun primarily and as a way of self-improvement. When tournaments enter a field of like major leagues and professionalism, like if you want it that way, if you want it to be like closer to CSGO, Overwatch, and even greater than that, like professional sports, generally speaking, standardization is going to take variation and fun and enjoyment and sideline them a little bit. They're going to lower in quality, like lower in consistency in those things, and it's more about performance, competition, and like rigor, right? So I don't know where the OS community expect them to go. Right now it kind of seems like keeping it casual. So in terms of how it can serve a player population, like for you guys who are very interested in self-improvement, I think OS tournaments are a great way that matches the sentiments of the vast majority of OS players. Now, if you do want OS tournaments and like OS in general to become like a thing of prestige, right? Generally, that comes at sacrifices. And right now, I do hear a little bit of ripples every once in a while from the community about, yeah, you know, we want some official things like, you know, OS World Cup kind of deal and whatnot. But it comes with a lot of trade-offs. And generally, fun gets lower in priority. And self-improvement gets lower in priority. Because now, when you enter tournament play at the professional level, it's more than just yourself, a lot of times. So that's kind of like an interesting, that's my perspective on it. Those are highlighting things that are interesting to me, that I watch tournaments for. So I see OS tournaments as a hobbyist who enjoys playing selectively against each other. That's what I see. I don't see tournaments as a metric to properly measure skill sets with proper statistics and metrics that guide a person towards performance-based like mindsets. It's usually very fun, and personally I really like that about those tournaments. It has that very it's still a hobby feel. I usually work in a professional background before all of this, so generally speaking, fun and focusing on self-improvement only, like contextualizing self-improvement only, is not professional. Like it's not to say if you desire to be professional, then there are a lot of things that the OS community has to learn about tournament play. If you're there to have fun and, you know, always love the addictive quality of improving the self skills and whatnot, then I think OS is in a great place, especially with tournaments. You know, it's all of the above. If that is helpful in any way. Those are the things I look for. I like observing and then comparing things to other things, right? Right now, I'm just tapping training, and I'm in like the endurance part of it. It's kind of hard to explain right on the spot because it's like a 4-hour thing. I like watching, and as an emotional response, I like watching OS tournaments, because OS tournaments remind me of young people liking to play. So it's the essence of sportsmanly like conduct, where it's not possibly pressured by professionalism. So it's unhinged. OS community in general on how they view performance-based tasks, how to improve self, is reflective in the tournaments too. It's very unhinged. And to me, it's a breath of fresh air because, generally speaking, if you worked long enough in a professional field, in any professional field, you know, on a professional level, you'll know that there are lots and lots of trade-offs to, I don't know, making a career out of it, right? Money, I guess, prestige, notoriety, those things have a lot of exchanges that I personally don't think the OS community is able to trade off yet. So, and I think that's what makes the OS community unique in its ways and its tournaments. Its tournaments are very unique. And a cynic, like, you know, a person who's in professional sports of any sort, would probably be very cynical about the way OS the OS community handles tournaments. With that said, though, to me, it's unique, and that's great. Is it serious and super competitive? No, it's not. And that's what makes OS great. Because you can take a break from OS. Although, you know, community members self-inflict the necessity to keep playing, right? They're treating it like it has metrics of professional like sports. And to me, I think it's not taking advantage of what OS is, which is more of a hobbyist approach to a lot of things. You don't have to, like, for example, here's a great tournament deep cut. In professionals must they're obligated to perform in tournaments, and they must meet specific requirements and consistency in tournaments, whether they like it or not. So the risk of injury and performance comes with high pressure, and that high pressure is why the trade-off is they have, consistent revenue source, consistent training, like all that becomes refined due to the officiating of tournaments. And OS does not have any of that, which is a pro and a con depending on who you are. But the biggest pro that I like to encourage other OS players to do is remember to take a breath. Take a mental break. You are allowed those things in OS, even in tournament play. Like, for example, a common behavior that really illustrates how casual OS is that tournaments get scheduled weirdly, and they're incredibly dynamic and flexible based on a whim of the convenience of players. In a professional capacity, it's no negotiation. It's the players meet the conditions of the tournaments, not the other way around. So, for example, things like, something came up and I had to drop the tournament. In a professional setting, if you drop too many tournaments, then you are no longer eligible or be professionally reliable, and that means that you don't get to participate in tournaments anymore. So there's a lot of pros and cons, and to me, a lot of players want OS to be an incredibly competitive thing, but at the same time, they behave and take advantage of OS's casualness that will go away if they wish it to be a professional setting, because there are a lot of intolerable things. For example, this one, generally speaking, the OS community doesn't really is self-aware of this, I would say, most of the time, is the idea that if you want to be OS to be a professional thing, your behavior and everything you do in public is also up for scrutiny. So when someone is saying they're one of the top players in OS and they are a professional OS player, that would also mean that in public, they have a decorum that they must maintain. They must have an image that they must maintain to represent a brand professionally. So that means that there's less flexibility in toxicity, less flexibility in sportsmanlike conduct. So there are a lot of behaviors that are very flexible in the OS community because it is a really, in my opinion, a great place to chill and hang out and enjoy things. Once a thing becomes strictly professional, then you lose a lot of that. And I'm playing OS here like this because I can. Is there a merit to it? No, not really, per se. And that's kind of the looseness of OS. And that's great, in my opinion. So, while you guys are very focused on like rank, sometimes that rank system tries to be competitive, as in it tries to be like other professional metrics used in like other organizations. However, remember that you're playing a game that allows you to take breaks. So to me, my thing that I tell OS players a lot is take a breather, play something different in OS. Try to do something else different in OS. It's not the end of the world if you don't let the mindset of a metric system dictate how you measure your progress. I think that's what I generally play OS for, and it's the conversation I typically have with most OS players. Yeah. So I've been around quite a bit in organized professional sports. It might not seem like it, but non-traditional sports, right? Like bowling, taekwondo, uh heck, even trivia stuff, right? Like participating in knowledge competitions. And all those things, OS does not have those things. For better or for worse, right? Like, if you desire to be one of those things, I think it trades off a lot of things the OS community is not ready for. Maybe one day there will be a paradigm shift, but for now, I think it's in a place that still allows kids not to be... It still feels like a game, right? As opposed to a job. Because sports, when it becomes professional, is a job. And to me, if you're thinking, oh man, but a job has like connotations or things that are undesirable, when you become a professional like me, I suppose, I was a former professional, I suppose, I love my job. My job and the stuff I did were one and the same. In order to become successful as a professional, you must also find ways and mindsets to love your job too. If you decide to ask and poll OS community, I would say that over 50% of OS community members would not resonate with the idea that they can turn OS into a job and love it at the same time. The case in point is when you had to take a break from Mania because you were hard stuck, and now you're playing Taiko, and then you're going to go back to Mania with a refreshing thought. A job and professionalism does not give you those breaks. They expect you to problem solve and continue growing as it continues. Otherwise, you're out of a job. So that's kind of a mindset that I don't see in OS tournaments. So it's a semi-competitive process, but it's very adorable in my opinion. I think it's super endearing that tournaments are just willy-nilly and there's no standardization and all that stuff. Like I know I've come to know a few people very well now over the last 3 or 4 years, and the stories they tell me, like, oh yeah, you know, I'm getting up at 7 a.m. for this tournament. It's like, how do they determine the time? It's like, oh, you know, we agreed on it, whatever the players agree is convenient. And then like 1 hour later, he's like, oh yeah, we won by default because 3 of their members dropped out. That's a very, very informal, you know, informal casual setting. I would say OS is kind of like 40K in a way, like tabletop hobbies. When you go to an event, you play games on the tabletop, but they're often not officiated in a way that makes it grueling or like mandatory, right? And there is a really pleasant thing about that. Like, there's a nice part about it. So if you love OS, typically, if you love something, it can be very difficult to turn that into a living or turn that into a metric in which your entire value of self is dependent on, like a career. So one of the very common things that happen when meeting other OS players is that they try to turn this thing into a career, right, in content creation. And statistically, it is highly unlikely that something like this alone can become a career maker. Provided, if you get lucky and organization of OS becomes, you know, enter a different philosophy like a paradigm shift in the way they think, then it could be a career. But generally speaking, have fun. Have fun challenging yourself in new ways. I think OS is a great tool to help people learn about themselves, as in how they learn, how they overcome obstacles. There are a lot of life skills to learn in OS, and I play OS for that reason. I try to talk about life skills in the context of video games a lot, because it resonates with a population of people online that struggle a lot with problem solving and critical thinking skills. Video games and the internet tend to be one that removes the necessity for problem solving. So if you play when you want to, and you do the things that give you positive feedback all the time, and then walk away from things that you feel you're stuck on, that allows you the flexibility of avoiding the necessity to develop skills for problem solving. It also avoids skills of communication, but that's a different digression. When you are always doing what is positive, and you are always have the option of choosing your challenges, typically you're not practicing the skill that I'm talking about. So my favorite skill is being presented a challenge that I can't control. And one of the greatest challenges in playing OS is talking to its community. The beginning of this thing, my motivation to retraining my tapping is a platform to demonstrate that I do not resonate with the OS community. And that makes it interesting, because when I'm doing this, I will encounter and invite a lot of people to share what they know and what they need to do. And that gives me an opportunity to explain my motivations and then discuss and share perspectives on it. I don't do this because it's trendy. I do this specifically to draw attention. And that's kind of what the last 20 days was. I had the opportunity to meet 5 different people, and all 5 of them have a different perspective on how they get satisfaction from OS. However, all of them mechanically agree on what the system tells them they should be doing. And sure enough, I play OS for the very thing of defying the system. So my reward is this. Like, this has really nothing to do with ranks or anything. All it is just tapping 120 all the way up to 185 and then back down to 160. Over the 20 days, I refined what I'm looking for, what I'm trying to look at to measure these things, and the game doesn't provide any of that. It's one of those things, like, if I was a developer, right? If I had an interview with Peppy, I would introduce all the things he hasn't thought about, or he secondarily prioritized, and ask him for his opinion and insight on any of those things. Like, have he considered a metric of endurance? Because endurance is not weighted in the ranking system. There's no separation of measuring and weighing time played across multiple maps, like bigger subsets, like say the best of 10, or providing an average binned into 10 plays as opposed to every single play, right? There are many ways to use statistics to evaluate different skill sets. understanding all of these things also require you doing most of those things out of the box. So when I emphasize what a PP system does, the current PP system doesn't illustrate, it's not to be a contrarian. It's usually to raise awareness that, hey, I know you're feeling down, and you just explained a lot of those things. I don't necessarily think the rating system, the ranking system, actually helps you understand that part for you. You're gonna have to do a little bit extra work outside of it. So one of the things the PP system doesn't do is rank how well you count metrics, like count rest periods. So what I mean by that is, yes, it's weighted heavily on speed, going faster, but I don't know if you've ever tried going slower or not tapping at all in large breaks. That's a different skill set. So the ranking system definitely measures certain things, but it doesn't necessarily mean it measures other things, especially ones at the opposite end of the spectrum, right? If you were a musician, for example, what I just said would probably be like preach, because a musician, one of the toughest parts of being a musician is also knowing when to count and not do anything, which this game doesn't measure, by the way. It's in the game though, like long periods of no tapping, sudden rhythmic changes, slow down, and it is in the game, but it's unidirectional. So the reason why I'm integrating speed is because Scoop mentioned speed in terms of the PP system, and I absolutely agree that it's heavily weighted on speed. So if you're someone who really wants to play slow and Scoop, okay, awesome. So when you really want to play slow and try to enjoy music or somehow, or rest periods, maps don't make, like, it doesn't, the system doesn't encourage making things like that. So you can't know what it doesn't measure, because it's a feedback loop. So if a system measures a certain thing, it will provide more of that thing. It doesn't infer that it's providing the opposite. So things like, here's a big mind blower, okay? To me, OD makes people incredibly mechanically on time. What are you sacrificing? Think about, what about not being on time? Where can you argue that always being on beat is a detriment, or it's a trade-off? Well, if you ever listen to a jazz piece or a formless music, you'll notice that most of the players are not necessarily on beat. They are on the same rhythm, but they don't play on beat. In OS, when you have high OD, you're always playing on beat. As in, what is being mapped are the beats of the song. They do not give you flexibility on adding, like, for example, ad-libbing. There's no such thing as ad-libbing. So here's a fun little connection that's way out of left field. If you really love OS and you're like, oh yeah, I'm a 99.91% accuracy gamer, hip-hop and rap is going to be very difficult to even understand intellectually, because ad-libbing is not necessarily being on beat, it's being playful with the beat, right? Because there's off beats, there's between beats, there's subdivisions of beats. So depending on what kind of skill set you want, it will interfere and exchange with a different type of skill set. And OS is not measuring those things. So how is this relevant? For me, what I'm doing now is probably the hardest thing that I can possibly do in OS. It's not reading maps and trying to be on time. I can't stay on beat a lot of times because I'm tapping to the music. I'm not tapping to the map. And it sucks. So I'm working on that. Like, all these maps are just beats. Oh yeah, no worries, Scoop. You go help your dad. That's a goat move, by the way. That's a goat move. And go help your dad. Yeah, so one of the big things for me is that when I'm playing the map, like depending on the music, even though it's just the same beat over and over again, like same spacing, technically it's the same rhythm too. It's technically the same rhythm, but what it is the meter and the beat stays the same. But as the music speeds up or it gets louder or the frequency changes, I tend to speed up and slow down, even though the map just tells me to hit the same beat. So it's really difficult for me to do this. And for a lot of people, it's not. So what does that tell me? Well, a lot of OS players are not musicians, right? At a high level. Like, I'm not really all that high. I would say all you have to do is be above average and you'll know what I'm talking about. So I don't strive to be the high OD, high PP person because I'm not going to be able to play OS long enough to like untrain my tendencies. I kind of like being that kind of person where like I would tap 3 times here and tap 4 times here, or feel like I need to go faster here and feel like I need to go slower here. I'll try for sure. And it's really evident. Like when a song crescendos, right, gets louder, it gets elevated, I actually tap faster. Hot take, right? Or not hot take, but here's the greatest example. In OS, when you play a DMB track, you know, like any EDM, just like house EDM, usually is drum and bass. When they do the thing where they get ready for the drop beat, you know, when the big drop, it feels like it's going faster, but technically the beat didn't change. Like the way the map works, when you're streaming those, it's a constant BPM. But what my brain is doing is speeding up. Right? So it's tough. It's really tough. I think this game, the most interesting part about this game, or rhythm games in general, is how to help me focus on a specific task without being swayed and distracted by another task. And if there's anything I would say the vast majority of OS players are really, really skilled at, for both better and worse, is focus. I would say 7 out of 10 OS players are incredibly focused, like way above average focus. If you're into the PP system, you're already above average in terms of focus. What do you give away? What is the disadvantage of having incredible focus? Well, you can't be distracted. Second, what requires the skill to be distracted or be able to look at it from a different angle? Problem solving. So if you're ever curious why it feels a lot of times the vast majority of OS community talks about the same type of themes, being heart stuck, mind blocked, skill capped, having a love-hate relationship with the game, stuck on progress, or the same set of ways to measure progress, universal agreement on what it constitutes as good and bad in the system is that you guys are heavily really focused, like incredibly focused. It comes with a trade-off though. You can't it's very difficult to problem solve if you have a lot of focus. What happens with problems when you only focus on the problems? Like the inherent things you know. You don't learn anything. You don't learn new material. You don't take in new information. The better you become at OS, you are banking on luck, a lot of aspects of luck to improve. Because when you hit a wall, you're going to hit a wall until you realize you need to distract yourself from that wall and think of other ways. And the two of you have most definitely illustrated that that learning experience was sufficient enough for you to walk away for a little bit and come back. Because if you're hard stuck, you need to get unstuck. And the first thing you have to do is focus on something else. And that's what I see as an extension of the OS community. Games like this. Here's another deep cut. This is a pretty big one. When a game is fun and it's focused on performance, you are more likely to enter a vicious cycle of, as long as it's fun, I will hyper focus on it. Because it's a positive feedback. If it's continuing to be fun, you are more likely to get hard stuck. It's a human condition thing. You get a positive feedback for doing the same thing. Positive feedback for constantly doing the same thing. When you are hit with a negative response, you can choose to ignore it or confront it. And generally speaking, that causes both of them lead to one really common outcome. You get distracted and you look for solutions elsewhere. And that ultimately has a much, much higher success than the thing you're being positively fed and reinforced to repeat. Because the likelihood, that common saying, what is it? Repeating something and expecting to have different results is, it's very illogical. Usually the word is insanity, but I don't necessarily think that's an appropriate word. It's illogical. So when people are hard stuck and they're feeling really bad, they have to basically learn to learn again. Because what that constitutes is you have to start learning something else. Just the act of learning something else is sufficient. And if you love something, the new thing you learn will become connected with that. So like for Scoop, it was playing Taiko, which will eventually enable him to go back to Mania. And one thing that is often not apparent is that skills don't have to be literally connected. So skills don't have to be literally connected to be transferable. So here's a very common path of dialogue for OS players. I play OS standard. And coincidentally I also play OS standard, but like hypothetical me, I play OS standard. I can't spend time playing Mania. It'll take time away where I'm not working on OS standard skills. Well, you are a person. It's not just the literal skills that are transferable. It's also your mindset. And you'd be surprised how your experience with Mania can transfer to Taiko. It's not just the literal skill that's being transferred. It's your learning process. It's your ability to keep on learning and adapt. You learned Mania, now you're going to learn Taiko. all that experience of learning Mania is still with you. If Taiko is treating you better, which is a slight deep cut here, Scoop. If Taiko is treating you well now, is also dependent on the idea that you have played Mania for 3 years. Not compartmentalized, as in, oh, Taiko is treating me well, I should stick with Taiko. And Mania didn't help with Taiko. It does. Like, you're a human being, so learning process is, it doesn't go away. It never goes away. Like, learning is forever. So the more you learn, the more things you learn, that learning skill is cumulative. It just keeps building. So when it always feels like when you try a new thing and it treats you better, and then you can go back to an old thing and somehow the old thing feels like new again and treats you better than, like just like the other, and now you have two things that treat you better, is you're cumulatively learning how to solve problems. You're cumulatively learning how to extract more value from things. You can be the master of a lot of things when you choose to emphasize one of those things. But it doesn't substitute for always trying new things while you're maintaining a skill. A job is that. I love my job because it's a thing that I do really, really well. It doesn't stop me from constantly doing everything else, because I need everything else to feed back to my job. So, as a scientist, as someone who was a scientist, that's what you had to do. When you're not in the lab doing the thing that you're doing best, you're in a classroom learning about something else you don't want to learn about. And I'm the first one to admit, actually, a lot of my colleagues find this humorous. The ones that don't engage, I fall asleep. It's hard. It's like really difficult to stay alert when it's not the thing that I do really well. I'm always confused. I get lost. You have to do it. That's how you keep learning. And it doesn't take away from your main skill. Most of the time, it actually comes back. You'll find a way to relate it back to your main skill. So if your main is Taiko, do everything else while you're playing Taiko. You'll realize how much of all of that feeds back to your main upkeep. So how do you maintain a job? You work your best at the job because it's the thing you do, and you work on everything else, like to a different extent. So how do you get better at OS? Here's one of the main advice that I would give to someone who's hard stuck. Work on sleeping. You probably gave up a lot of sleep hygiene because you hyper-focused on the ranking system and what it ranks, right? It doesn't rank sleeping. It doesn't rank having a good diet. It doesn't rank going out for a walk and feeling good about yourself. A ranking system can only measure what it's designed to measure. It doesn't measure the human being. So you are way more than a rating system. You are a bottle of emotions. They don't give you a ranking for your emotions. Like, imagine what the PP system looks like if they say, oh yeah, how do you feel right now? And then you get the FC. If you felt sad and get the FC, it's a more impressive FC. That's kind of hard to measure. Like, how do you standardize that? You don't. So the ranking system doesn't do that. What is the most human part of human rankings? It's not in the ranking system, it's you. So when you feel awful, you can never remember that. All the ranking system tells you is you underperformed. It didn't tell you how you felt when you tried. Like if you had an off day or an on day, it doesn't rank those things. It doesn't rank that you're exhausting yourself and your hands falling apart and you need to take a break. Ranking systems don't tell you that stuff. It's a objective measure. Ranking systems are supposed to be objective, right? However, you're interpreting your ranking So you're interpreting something that's objective to gain subjective reward. So you have to remind yourself that your subjectivity is in your control. The numbers won't ever change because it's objective. Just as they are objective, they can't possibly tell you everything about how you should feel. Only you can. And others, obviously, like other humans. So only another human can give you the feedback that you're looking for. That's like subjectively inclined. So keeping that in mind can really, really help maintain things. And it allows you to just keep on learning. Like that's my my little spiel. I've already just a little rehearsal here. When I start spiraling into a digression during like anything I play, I usually try to put in at least an hour to 2 hours because that's how I collect. So I'm doing it for the content. No shame in that, all right, folks. So let me add a few more ideas into this, right? When you're thinking about a job, you can transfer your OS problem solving to a job. It's being able to extract what I'm saying by playing video games. You're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You might be killing 3 birds. Okay, enough killing birds. You might be maximizing your skill set. Just because you don't know how to use the information yet doesn't mean it's worthless. So that's kind of a really, really strong problem. It's a problem in the sense that it creates underdeveloped skills. So for example, when you want to feel better about yourself, right? But all you're doing is hyper focusing on what makes you feel bad, right? That system is reminding you and making you focus on the one thing and convincing you that's what matters and only that matters. It's kind of two-pronged. The person who made the system can also help in this, but right now we're just talking about things that you can control and not things that you can't control, right? What is a great example of a microcosm that OS represents? School. School is a system created by Peppy, right? To maybe like hundreds years worth of Peppy. And you are operating in that system. Well, here's the thing. School, you can also operate outside that system too. Right? So while you're learning all the things and extracting the information school has to offer, once school is over, how are you benefiting from that? Well, a lot of times, if you're extracting the things you want from school, then you can make use of them. If school doesn't have anything to offer, then you're hyper-focusing on something else, right? That's usually the most common thing. So if school is a waste of your time, then what you're telling yourself is that you are not interested in what the system has to offer. It's not because you can't understand it. Like, one of the negatives that I want to dispel is most people, 99% of people are not too stupid to extract value and stuff out of a challenge. What prevents that extraction is if you are motivated to do so. So in OS, if you don't want to play standard, well, you're never going to extract any information out of standard. It's right there. It's on the table. It's untapped. Untapped, just something that you could do. Because one of the biggest motivator is if you're hyper focused on a skill, you don't think that anything else is important to your skill outside of the skill itself. So if you always play standard and you're always a 99.91 act person, you become a specialist. Inherently, you have the inability to take a break from something. And what is a very common phrase from very experienced OS player? Oh, I didn't realize, but I took a break for a month and now I'm just better than I was before. It's like, well, yes and no. Biomechanically, the answer is no. It is well overshadowed by your intellectual state. So your mindset has offset so much of that you were so hyper-focused, generally speaking, you forgot how much of a strain it took on your mental state. So when learning is stressed, it blocks everything out. When physical is kind of nice because there's intuition, right? There's feedback, right? Like, oh yeah, I worked out too hard. I get an immediate feedback, right? Immediate feedback like, oh yeah, hey, your body is telling you, dude, stop, just stop. Your brain doesn't really tell you that. I'm gonna be real, especially for learning. You have to conventionally connect the dots yourself. And you don't have to be like an analytical person or someone who's into psychology or anything like that. You can learn it from experience. You can intuit this stuff. But the downside of this is for intuition to take hold, you actually need those experiences. Like if you're an intellectual person, I would consider myself as an intellectual person. It is possible to conceptualize something without needing the experience. If you're an old person, you can also do that with a lot of experience. Intuition is built on experience. So if you always feel like you're a person that needs to like feel that stuff, becoming hyper-focused is going to be your worst nightmare. When you hyper-focus, you can no longer experience new things. And without experiencing new things, you can't form intuitions, just like by doing, right? So this is where I fall out of empathy. I cannot empathize with people who cannot intellectually conceptualize the impact. So there you go. That's what I've been happening to me, but I actually get wine out. My food's almost done, so I'm gonna go and eat, and my buddy wants to... Oh yeah, good luck. Enjoy. Definitely enjoy. Oh, no worries. No obligations to be here. You can always catch the videos if you want. But definitely come with ideas. I would love to hear your ideas. Like just talk about how you feel. Talk about what you're excited about. I love banking off people's ideas. And it's just gonna lead to like 2 or 3 hour video about it. So definitely feel free. And thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. I really love the candidness. Yeah, have a good one. And I'm gonna try to finish this now. Okay. Oh. This is gonna be a little tough though. Okay. Yeah. You're always welcome. Always welcome. Thanks. You too. You too, Scoop. You too. Oh yeah, don't worry. Oh no. Alright, we gotta modify this. Let's quickly... We gotta modify how we're doing this. Alright. We can't do it that way. We're just going to run up to 170 again. And then call it a day here. Because there's no way I'm gonna be able to capture that feeling again. Let's find out. Alright. We get to listen to some nice tracks though. Again. Usually I only get to listen to these once. Because I don't have enough time to drop back down the full way. Man, this track is so good. It leaves me at so much ease, although it does cause me to be out of time, but I like this one too. It's very got a great groove to it. what happens when your finger stutters. Alright, I have a lot of thoughts in my mind. So many things that I could have said, or things that I need to practice when I was discussing something just now. So many thoughts swirling in my head while I'm trying to relax a little bit. I think we're just gonna go up, see as closely as we can, going up to where the strain happens, right? To when we have maybe double tapping or lots of stuttering, progressive stuttering, and then we're gonna stop there. We were close to just doing our endurance portion, but it's gonna be very difficult to do that twice in one day. I think that would be very unadvisable. So we're gonna relax and work on our dexterity here. No endurance stuff. You know, I've been noticing this progressively more, where there's like a hitch. I would say every like 7 or so minutes, there's a really weird FPS hitch that I can definitely feel. It's not something new per se. It's happened in OS stable every once in a while too. The hitch is still there. It doesn't necessarily interrupt the timing, but you can see it, and it's enough for me to, you know, I imagine someone who's very used to like the cadence and stuff will see it, but it won't like distract them from whatever the BPM is and whatnot. But it does for me. It's very noticeable. Maybe I should consider reformatting sooner than later. Man, those are some really odd times to be having the finger stutter. That's okay. It's kind of nice taking it easy for a little bit. The track up to the climb to 160 is definitely one that's incredibly relaxing. Dang. That's getting rough by the minute. Holy. I need to check something here. Oh, okay. All the goobers are all my vibing goobers are vibing on their own too. So we'll vibe a little. With some noodles. I might be tempted to switch it up on the last week. The last week and a half, and just go with not cutting the endurance part out, right? I have to strongly consider that. And just consolidate what endurance I have, and just focus on dexterity. Yeah, let's do that. I think we'll stop at 160 and just go 160 and then come back down. Some part of me kind of want to play the 165s because of the music.
Hmm. Yeah, let's play these. I kind of like these. So let's play all the new ones and get used to hearing them. Oops. Okay, yeah, that's definitely we're not going any higher than 160. Go play these two. Yeah, there's definitely some tension here. I don't want to do that anymore for today. Okay. We'll rest a bit and then we'll do this. I think maybe for the last week, right? From day 22 and on, I think we're gonna make a cutoff, a conscious cutoff, unless I feel really great at here. No higher than this. And the rest is just going to, yeah, we're just gonna cut the endurance part for the time being. Really need to iron down these ones. Yeah, we'll do this for a little bit longer. Maybe another 30 minutes. Dang it. Just can't keep it steady. Okay. That stutter. All right. Yep. Bound to happen eventually. Yeah, you know what? You know, we're gonna cut these guys on the top for the next couple days. Maybe we'll gain some more restedness. I still don't feel like these are on par. No, there are some really weird things going on there. Holy heck. There was some really weird things. There was one where I just like double actuate. Eh, it's okay. It's pretty scattered. Eh, it's still pretty meh. Way to go, stuttering hands. Way to go. Okay. It is so hard to just keep on maintaining without being affected by the music. Alright. Guess that's a wrap for today. We're gonna have to swap it up. But just keep it easy for the next couple of days. I feel like my feeling a lot more fatigue than I would like to. Doing these last couple. Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to like brainstorm or think about it. Alright folks. A wrap for today. Wednesdays, give a little bit of a break. Vibe a little, you know, veg around a little. Look for some inspirations. Do some writing, do some thinking. End of day 20. Had a great discussion in there. So got a lot to think about too, actually. It was the first time someone asked me about what I thought about the tournament scene in OS as well. I mean, I thought about it quite a bit. Just the first time I ever said anything about it. Alright folks. That's a wrap for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Always welcome to comment, share, and discuss about your takes on self-improvement, ranking systems, and hey, the OS tournament scene, right? As always, until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, keep on learning, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care. Bye now.